Hello! My first video on driving anxiety tips proved to be really popular, so here I am back with 5 more tips to help you overcome your fear of driving. So let's get straight into it. The first tip is to be positive and think of what you actually want. Where many people go wrong when they want to overcome the problem is they focus on what they don't want. So they'll say things like, I don't want to have this feeling, I don't want to be scared, I don't want to be nervous, I just don't want to feel like this at all. Well, that won't work because you're saying what you don't want. That means your mind doesn't know what you do want. So you need to be positive. You need to say, I want to feel happy, I want to feel like this, I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to go there. Do you see what the difference is? Imagine if somebody asked you what you wanted to eat for lunch, and instead of just saying, I want a sandwich, you would say, I don't want pizza, I don't want pasta, I don't want sauce, I don't want mushrooms, I don't want meat. You're telling them all the things you don't want. Just get on with it and tell them what you do want. It makes a huge difference because when you focus on the negatives, your mind doesn't know what you want. The second tip is to feel the feeling and don't fight it. Now, in the last video, my first driving anxiety tips video, I mentioned about how you mustn't fight the feeling. In respect to what I just said in the first point about don't be negative, be positive, it's no good just telling people don't fight it. What do you actually need to do? What you need to do is feel the feeling, experience the feeling. So when you're feeling this panic attack, this anxiety, whatever you want to call it, that's the best time to help you to get over it by finding where it came from. So I'm going to move on quickly to the third tip because this one ties in with the second tip. The third tip is remember where the feeling came from. So when you have this feeling when you drive, I can guarantee you that you've had the feeling before at some point in your life. Now this is where most people say, I haven't. This is the first time I've ever had this feeling. Now there are 2 ways this can go. Firstly, you have had it before, but you've forgotten when you had it before. And I saw an excellent example of this in a session a couple of years ago where somebody insisted to me they had never had the problem before. We got to the 3rd session, and as we were talking about it, their eyes just suddenly opened and they gasped like, "Ah!" And I thought, I know what's going on. They've just remembered when they had it. And yeah, sure enough, the client said, I don't believe it. I just remembered I had this years ago. And I won't go into details because it's private, but they remembered when they had had the feeling before. And just remembering that released it. And as I often say, it's not as simple as just sitting there and going back through all your memories. There are specific ways you can recall things. But I won't get into that now, that's in other videos. So if you didn't forget it, some people say, look, I've never had this before and nothing comes up at all. What that means is you didn't experience it at the time when you should have, and you're experiencing it now when you drive instead. So what I mean by this is sometimes, let's say you've had something happen to you years ago. Let's say you were involved in an armed robbery, which is something that actually happened to me once. So if you don't feel anything at the time, you may then kind of lock it away, and I've spoken before about its locked room. Your mind puts the feeling into a locked room and it says, right, that's going to cause you a lot of trouble if you experience that. So I'm locking it away and you're not going to experience it. But years later, when you're driving, that locked room opens and it comes out and attaches to your driving. So you see, the problem you're experiencing now belongs elsewhere. So you have had the feeling before, or I should say, you should have had the feeling before, but you didn't experience it at the time and it became trapped. That's why it's coming out now when you drive. And this leads us nicely into point number 4, accept that it has nothing to do with driving. I say this in all of my videos over and over and over again, yet some people still insist that their driving problem is all about driving, because it's driving and it happens when they drive. It's nothing to do with driving, because, let's all say it together, driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. And every single person who has ever had success with me will tell you that their problem had nothing to do with driving. Driving is just when it comes out. It's just the way the symptom is presenting itself. It's not the driving. So when you're driving, it's triggering off something else. Think of it like a song playing on a stereo, and it's a song that reminds you of something that happened years ago, but you get angry and smash up the stereo. It's nothing to do with the stereo, that's just playing the song. That's like the trigger, if you will. The song and the thought from the past. That's the problem, not the stereo. So it's like smashing up a stereo is like blaming your driving anxiety on driving. It's nothing to do with driving. And I can promise you, if you insist it is, you will never fix it. And the final point is know that the problem is a part of you. It's not you. This can help massively to know that when you've got a problem, people often think, I'm the person with driving anxiety. It's me. It's who I am. And that's just the way it is. And that's it. That is absolute rubbish. You are not your problem. Your problem isn't you. Your problem is a part of you. And just realizing that can massively help. It's just a part of you that is wanting to tell you something because something from your past isn't necessarily correct. Now, sometimes it can be something from the future, and I'm not talking about time travel here. I'm talking about if you're maybe in a job that you don't like, maybe you can see you're going in the wrong direction in life. So it isn't always about the past, but just know that this part of you that's causing the problem is only a part of you. It's just something that's giving you a message. It isn't you. So you can detach that part from you and you can still live a full and happy life knowing that this problem is just a part of you. Watch these other videos on the screen now for more help overcoming your fear of driving. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.